about his rank over and over and over again and saying he went to war. They're actually trying to play this J.D. Vance in drag. Oh, man. Here you go. Here's J.D. Vance, and he's like wearing a dress. He's got eyeshadow. And he's got a wig on. Don't care. I don't know who you're trying to convince. If you think Trump supporters, staunch conservatives, are going to abandon Trump and J.D. Vance, why don't you go read Cat Turd's Twitter account? The dude attacks Joe Rogan. If you think moderate post-liberals like me are going to abandon Donald Trump because J.D. Vance once wore a dress at a party, probably a frat party or something, I don't think you understand modern politics, okay? Take a look at this. Where's the stupid... Prior to 2021, Vance was an open supporter of LGBTQ causes. In law school and advanced Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a source who knew the Statesman told the Daily Beast, I got news for all of you. I actually worked on behalf of the Human Rights Campaign, fundraising in California, and I'm pretty sure in Chicago. I think I did. It was in Chicago as well. It might have just been in California. I don't know. I raised money for these causes. You want to know what's funny? Back when I was, there was this phone call they did where they were talking about gay marriage, support for gay marriage. How can we advance gay marriage? And I was like, I'm going to help raise money for that cause. Certainly I did. And then on the phone call, they said, what about transgender issues? And the HRC said, no. The people don't like that. You're not going to win. We're not interested. And it caused a huge problem between various nonprofits. You see where I was back then, 14 or so years ago? This is like 15 years ago, maybe. So when you say Vance used to support LGBTQ causes, yeah, I did too, until you started putting books in schools with weird adult stuff in it that we don't think kids should have. Yo, this affected liberals. We're mostly in the same position we've always been. I'm not gonna go, oh heavens, oh geez, J.D. Vance wore a wig. I'm gonna be like, haha, look at him, that's funny. I bet he lost the bet. I don't care about that. Is that your scandal? I'll tell you this, even as a moderate, disaffected liberal, I'm looking at Tim Walz being like, dude lied. People seem pissed. And good luck convincing Trump's most ardent supporters to abandon him over J.D. Vance wearing a wig one time. And then I'll just add this. Attacking Donald Trump over a quote-unquote lisp, slush, and then, like insulting his speech impediment. When they kept defending Joe Biden's speech impediment, here's a stutter, how dare you, how dare you. Then they're like, haha, Donald Trump's got a lisp. Hypocrites. Now they're going like, oh yeah, well, J.D. Vance did drag. Shouldn't you be happy about that? No, they're trying to make the argument that Trump supporters should disavow J.D. Vance because one time at a party he wore a dress and a wig. I think he just lost a bet, dude. It's really that simple. There was a sporting event, and they were like, who do you got for the Super Bowl? And he's probably like, I don't know, the 49ers or something, and then they lose. I don't know who won back then or when this was. And then they're like, haha, now you got to wear a dress and go to the party. And he's like, all right, a bet's a bet. Or I don't know, it was Halloween. Who cares? Thanks for your scandal, I guess. But let me just wrap it up. Why I bring this up? The Tim Walz stolen valor scandal is hurting Democrats bigly. Bigly. And they know it. That's why Walz has had to bring it up twice now. Check it out. I'm going to wrap this segment up there. The next segment we got coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen, Google on the chopping block. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Next segment will be up at 4 p.m. on this channel. For those that are watching live, we're going to your super chats right now. And for everybody else, we will see you all at 4. Let's go. We'll grab some of your here super chats, and we'll break this down. Thrust McTrunk Punch says, Sergeant Major is the rank. Command Sergeant Major is a billet, or is it billet, similar to a position at a company. You don't need to be the rank in order to hold the billet. He didn't get the promotion from management. Ah, indeed. Indeed. I suppose it's similar to any corporate job. Like I mentioned the other day, I was an acting crew chief. And so the position of acting crew chief is, so I'll put it this way. I think this is probably similar how it works, right? You get promoted to the rank of crew chief, but it's not your official job. So I was promoted, and I received a pay raise. I was then able to apply for these positions, but you were a crew chief when you were actually assigned a zone. If you were temporarily holding a zone for someone who was sick because you were of the same rank, position, I shouldn't call it rank, but position, you were acting as a crew chief despite holding the eligibility requirements. So I got a pay raise. I was mostly doing I think I did a lot of de-icing in the winter because that was the best. Like if it didn't snow, you'd sit around. Sometimes it was cold and you still had to get the frost off the planes. But you took a test, you got promoted, you were officially eligible for the job of crew chief. But if you didn't actually get assigned it, you were just an acting crew chief. I guess what you're saying, like you promoted to sergeant major, but until you're actually assigned command, you're just a sergeant major. Is that what it is? Ryan O says, the polls are a lie. Richard Bears and Robert Barnes cover this. Harris is betting that fake polls and headlines will suppress enough to win. We need to fight knowing they are fake and need a turnout that is big enough for the lies. I think you just need to, yeah, maybe they're going for normies who think Trump's not going to win anyway. I don't know, though. I think the narrative needs to be Donald Trump took a bullet for you. You can go out and vote for him. I think that should be the message that's delivered, to be completely honest. Donald Trump took a bullet for you. You can go out and vote for him. Do not stay home. Do not stay home. Not this time. Whether you think you will win or you think you will lose, you will stand proud at your polling location. You will look to the American flag, and win or lose, you will have done your duty to save and serve your country. Some do more than others. Some sign up, enlist, they go overseas, they serve the interests of this nation so that the rest of us can live comfortably and safely. On November 5th, you will do your duty in honor of the men and women who have served, some giving the ultimate sacrifice, and in respect for Donald Trump, who literally took a bullet for this country, a man who by all rights should have retired, should be sitting comfortably in his own private golden movie theater in his penthouse above New York, sipping margaritas and pina coladas, seeing his grandkids, going on boat rides in the Mediterranean, a billionaire who instead decided to stand up for his country, for what he believes, to the point where someone shot him, narrowly striking his brain. But fortunately, it was only his ear. Unfortunately, the bullets traveled beyond him and killed several other American patriots who gave their lives just to stand up for what they believed in on this one day. It's not just about Donald Trump. If he can take a bullet and pledge to return to Butler, PA, and continue doing his rallies and refuse to give up, and only a day, 24 hours or so later, he's back at work at the RNC and his family, you can go out on November 5th and cast that vote, whether you think you're going to win or going to lose. Because when you cast that vote, you're saying thank you to everybody who's doing the hard work to make it so that you can live a comfortable life in this country. That's all. That's all you have to do. That's all they're asking. That's the message. Let's grab a couple more super chats. All right. Shifter 5W says CSM is a lateral promotion from Sergeant Major. It's the same E grade. CSM is a command position where Sergeant Major is usually a staff position. MSG and Master Sergeant and First Sergeant are both E8s. First Sergeant is a command position, same E grade, one has more responsibility. So quite literally, I saw a report that he was an E8. ChatGPT was like, he was a Command Sergeant Major. Sorry, you're right, he was an E8. I should ask ChatGPT why I got it wrong. So, Seth D says, finally someone got it right. What is it? Shifter. Yep, Shifter 5W. Rusty Shackelford says, look up military frocking. That's probably what Tim Waltz did. I don't know what that is. Let's jump to this next segment, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We've got this from the New York Times. Google stock falls as government weighs breaking up the company. This is big. We need to get a better source. But we've got to talk about what's currently going on. The New York Times source, let me get a better one for you. Google breakup and get the finer details, because that was an audio thing, I think. Here we go. This is the right source. U.S. said to consider a breakup of Google to address search monopoly. The DOJ said, and state attorneys, general, are discussing various scenarios to remedy Google's dominance in online search, including breaking up the company. You hear that, Google? You know what's funny is that Google's a beast, a behemoth. I don't think there's any one person right now watching at YouTube, and I know they are watching. I don't think there's any one person watching who actually has enough authority to do anything about this, nor care. It's funny because we have a bunch of different Google connections. Google Ads, YouTube, of course. What is it? There's ancillary Google companies that are like, I've got connections with Google News, and they're all different companies. So it's funny because someone from the ads side was like talking to us, and then I asked someone from the YouTube side about what we're doing with ads, and they're like, I have no idea. I don't know how any of that works. And I'm like, you guys have Google email addresses. You don't work at the same company? And they're like, yeah, we basically don't. Like, that guy's probably in an entirely other country or something. The New York Times says Google was found last week to have violated antitrust laws by illegally maintaining a monopoly on internet search. Now discussions over how to fix those violations have begun. Justice Department officials are considering what remedies to ask a federal judge in order to order against the search giant, said 3 people with knowledge of the deliberations involving the agency and state attorneys general who helped bring the case. They are discussing various proposals, including breaking off parts of Google, such as its Chrome browser or Android smartphone operating system, 2 of the people said. Other scenarios under consideration include forcing Google to make its data available to rivals, or mandating that it abandon deals that made its search engine the default option on devices like the iPhone, said the people who declined to be identified because the process is confidential. The government is meeting with other companies and experts to discuss their proposals for limiting Google's power, the people said. The deliberations are in their early stages. Judge Amit P. Mehta of U.S. District Court for D.C., who's overseeing the case, has asked the DOJ and Google to come up with a process for determining a fix by September 4th. He has scheduled a hearing on September 6th to discuss the next steps. Last week's ruling that Google was a monopolist was a landmark antitrust decision, raising serious questions about the power of tech giants in the modern internet era. Apple, Amazon, and Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, also face antitrust cases. Google is scheduled to go to trial in another antitrust case, this one over ad technology, next month. Any remedies in Google's search case are likely to reverberate and influence that broader landscape. The stakes are actually high for Google, which became a $2 trillion internet juggernaut by building an online advertising business and others on top of its search engine. Judge Mehta could reshape the core of the company's business or order it to abandon long-time practices that have helped to cement its dominance. Google generated $175 billion in revenue from its search engine and related businesses last year. The DOJ is evaluating the court's decision. A spokesman for the agency said in a statement, no decisions have been made at this time. The Google spokesman declined to comment. The company has pledged to appeal the ruling. Bloomberg News early reported the details of the discussion. Remedies in antitrust cases can have profound effects. In 2000, a federal judge ruled against Microsoft in an antitrust case and ordered the company to be split up. A breakup was reversed on appeal, but key legal
I didn't know that you get
held.
to see it
Afterward, Microsoft did not exert its dominance over the
in normal
emerging
orientation.
industry,
Thank you.
room
I
for
just
young
learned something
companies
new.
like Google to thrive. The Justice Department and a group of states brought the search lawsuit against Google in 2020. It went to trial last year alongside a second similar lawsuit brought by a different group of state attorneys general. On August 5th, Judge Mehta ruled that Google had illegally maintained a monopoly over general online search services and some of the ads that run in search results. Their stock is falling. They've got some crazy ideas, but we will see. This is massive, ladies and gentlemen. The end of Google is going to reshape the political landscape as we know it. First, let me tell you a story. I know a guy. I don't know what he sold. He sold like knickknacks or something. And his whole business was online sales. And he made a good living. One day, Google decided to change the algorithm. And all of a sudden, his website didn't appear in search anymore. Everything he had built up to generate proper search engine optimization, was gone. His sales evaporated. That was it. That to me is insane. And we cannot have an economy that functions that way. Back in the olden days, you'd buy a piece of real estate. Let's say you buy a property in an empty field. 20 years later, residential developments are popping up. 10 years later, massive urban buildings are popping up. There's stores all around. And here's your little store in a prime location. Your revenue is dramatically increased. Your building's improved. You've got several children. They're running the store now. And you're like, this is it. Now imagine, with the internet, you set up online. You sell a product most people don't know or care about. How about 50 caliber pens. I got one over here. It's a 50 caliber bullet, but it's actually a pen. You pull the pen out. Let's say you're selling those. No one else is selling them. So you got prime real estate. People search for it. They find you on Google. They buy your product. You're making a living. A year goes by, and this real estate, gone. Google comes in and says, we're changing the algorithm. You're out. Imagine if someone set up a shop in a barren field, that developments came around, and then one day the government came and said, we are forcing your shop to go far, far away. You're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We've been here for a long time. We built this business. We have foot traffic. That's how we sustain it. They say, no, no, no. We're moving your business to a barren wasteland. You'd be done. It'd be the end. You'd have nothing. That's what's happening with Facebook, with Google, and other platforms. With YouTube. You know, there are people who built YouTube channels, followed the rules completely, and then YouTube sabotages those channels for political reasons. And then people end up losing their livelihoods. So I warn people all the time. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. Several years ago, when we started Timcast IRL, for instance, 100%, well, okay, it's an exaggeration, it's not 95% of the revenue for the company was YouTube ad revenue. That's it. I take a look at YouTube, see how much money in ads we were getting from the clips and the videos and the live streams, and I'd be like, that's how much money we're making. And it was insane. And then I thought about it. If we get banned, it goes to zero. And at the time, I only had like 2 employees or whatever, so it was just basically me. And I was like, okay, we need to build something else. So I started posting to Spotify and iTunes, the podcast platforms, and started the website, timcast.com. And it was fairly rudimentary, but it was like be a member. And instantly, we got to the point where we had offset that risk. Google as a monopoly is a nightmarish thing to consider. It is like living in communist China and running a business. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Google, it's like having the Chinese Communist Party come and just say, we are destroying your business to build a highway, and there's nothing you can do about it. Worse still is how it affects politics, and this is going to be massive. Google interferes in politics 100%. We saw this with Dr. Robert Epstein, who's talked about how Google, Facebook, and other platforms can control algorithms to benefit Democrats, and that Google's actively flipping votes. Actively. That means, he basically has described it as, if you search for Trump, you get Kamala. You search for Kamala, you get Kamala. Look what Kamala Harris's campaign is doing now. You search for a news story, Kamala bought ads that Google allows where she changes the headline of a news story to make it look like the news favors her. That's what Google is doing. If Google gets broken up, this could rupture the ability for YouTube to function properly. YouTube, of course, being subsidized. The search on Google is going to be interesting because YouTube is the second largest search engine for videos. How this ends up, my friends, I cannot say. What I can tell you is we know the machine is rigged. So I don't see how this plays out in a way that ultimately does make it better for us. My concern is that the breaking up of Google will simply be to the betterment of the establishment and the deep state. They say, oh, geez, we've had to split the ad company and the search company, so now it's all split up. That means YouTube ad revenue is gone. YouTube then says, we're going to start charging. What happens when YouTube says, we're going to start charging for bandwidth? If you put up a video, you got to pay. Do you know how much it would cost? Google subsidizes this, and I understand it. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen. Right now in this live stream, we're live here in the morning, 10 a.m., come hang out. About 25,000 people watching. Upload rate is probably around 6 or 7 megabits per second. Multiply that by 25K. That's how much it costs to do a live stream when you're not on YouTube, one of these big platforms. In the early days of live streaming mobile, going to like Ustream and these other companies, that we'd say like, what's the rate for streaming? They say, boom, it's going to be 30 grand. And you're like, what? Google could then come out and say, we're going to have to charge a flat rate for anybody who wants a channel. And you'd be thinking, no way, that would hurt YouTube too much. No. They're going to get the same amount of views. They already have siloed off independent voices, deleted their channels, made it harder and harder to find. And anybody who's already got their business operating on YouTube will pay the fee. They'll say $3,000 per month per channel. And then for us, we're going to have to spend like, $15,000 to $20,000 to maintain that. And that's on top of the money that we're already losing to invest in new channels. But we can afford it because we have memberships. Big corporations can afford it because they're big corporations. But new channels will never exist. There will be no more user-generated content. That's my concern. Let me show you this from The Guardian. You know who else should be on trial for the far rights, for the UK's far-right rights? Elon Musk. Ex-Twitter chairman sues X for $20 million. Elon Musk's, well, this one's a different story. But they're calling for Elon Musk's arrest. How do they frame the news against Elon Musk for X? What has he done? Open up the platform, activated monetization, one of the coolest things ever for people on X, one of the smartest things, now you can make money. And they tried to destroy it and burn him down. They lost control of that system. Now you're looking at YouTube. Why would they make it better for independent voices? I don't know that they would. Consider that. In the end, we think it may be good that Google's broken up, and it may be, but I am kind of worried that all it will actually do is the owners of Alphabet will hold stock in these companies all the same, maintain their control at their ideological level. These companies' cultures will not change, but they'll use it as an excuse to shut down independent voices. I'm not going to tell you what we should or shouldn't do. I don't know. Maybe breaking up is the right thing to do. Some free market capitalists think you shouldn't. Far be it from me, I don't have the answers. But I'll leave this one there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Smash that like button. Head over to timcast.com, become a member, click join us, and share this show with your friends if you really do like it. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all at 6. For everybody else, we will grab your super chats. And the next story, of course, we have is the arrest warrant for the Ukrainians over the Nord Stream bombing. Huge, huge news. Get Off My Lawn 2 says, Military Times has an article dated 12th of August that Waltz was reverted to Master Sergeant after retirement due to not completing the academy. Really? I didn't realize it was Master Sergeant. I did not realize that. Military Times, Waltz, Master Sergeant. That's amazing that I missed that. Let's see. Military Times. Is this the story? This might be it. It's from that date. They say, Tim Waltz, blah, 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 retired from his military career 59 days before he received orders. However, information from the National Guard candidacy paperwork filed, let's see, mostly false. Other Republicans, let me search for this. What was it, Master Sergeant? There we go. He held the rank of Command Sergeant Major for 7 months, but Waltz ended his career as a Master Sergeant because he did not complete additional coursework at the U.S. Army Sergeants Major Academy. Could that be because he was trying to avoid deployment? Command Sergeants Major who don't complete the Sergeant Major's course revert back to their prior rank. Fascinating. Can't say that I'm surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Can't say that I'm surprised. All right. Brian Martin says he was a CSM on a conditional basis. He didn't complete the requirements and was demoted post-retirement. 9 years U.S. Army infantry here. Wow. Josh says, I thought Tampon Tim would have made a better joke if they were referring to him serving, only working once a month. We called Guard Reserve tampons all the time, and keep up the good work, young Timothy. I heard that one. UP Shut says, thanks Timcast IRL, I know of Brave Browser and use it since, but Google is still better to search pictures. Google is better for a lot of reasons. We use Brave for everything. We use the Brave browser because Brave is better. Just generally speaking, slightly better. All right, so a lot of people just pointing out the appropriate rank thing. Dangerous Supreme says, my guess why they are breaking up Google is because they're about to flip on them during the election coverage, because what else has changed for Google during the past 4 years? Indeed, what has? Indeed, what has? Let's see. All right, let's see. J.R. Williams over in the general chat. Oh, I love this. He says, Tim misses a lot. He misses a lot of major news stories as well, but perhaps it's intentional. They tell Tim what he can cover. Literally, no one does. I literally wake up and pull up news stories from prominent sources. I'll go to Political, I'll go to CNN. I love the site. I just love the conspiracy reality people live in. The left claims that Republicans are secretly funding Timcast. They're not. And then whoever these people are claiming that I am told what I can and cannot cover. Literally not. I cover what I care about. Like U.S. giving Israel $20 billion and Germany issuing an arrest warrant over the Nord Stream bombing. What story should I be covering? This is the funny thing. People think that if you're not paying attention to their story, then you must be told you can't cover that story. Or I just didn't know about it. So how about you post the stories in Super Chat so I can see them on what stories you think I should cover, and then I will read the Super Chat. Robert Rogers says, when I was in the Army, we call the Guard living room rangers. 24 years in the Guard is only 888 days in uniform. PFCs have more time in service. Yeah, what did it say? Weekend warriors or whatever? I don't, I still respect it. Still respect it. Cover the Boogie situation? What is that? Are you talking about the YouTuber guy that doesn't matter and has no followers and what? What is this? This is the funny thing, right? If you go to like the top trending stories on X, on Google, if you look at the front page of news outlets, if you look at what is in the zeitgeist, you don't find these weird crackpot stories about, say, like Destiny, you know what I mean? Or Boogie, or, whoever else. They don't matter to regular people. I'll tell you why I think Timcast IRL does well. There are a lot of people who live in subcultures. Perhaps you are on YouTube every day, and you're getting recommended videos from David Pakman and Destiny, and then you're seeing, like, some right-wing guy argue with them. If you want to live in that world, that's fine, you can. 99% of people don't live in that world. So what I base my story selection off of is relevance to global affairs. About it. Sometimes I'll do commentary videos on, like, a cultural issue, a viral video of a woman saying something, and a guy interviewing on the street, and I'll talk about a cultural issue that I think matters. Or I'll talk about what I think is just top news that's going to impact the world. And I gotta tell you, I think the show, the morning show and the nightly on IRL could be a lot bigger if we did what a lot of other creators did, and just talked about, like, you've got these videos where a pundit might say something like, someone on Twitter said this, and, someone on Twitter said that, and blah, 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 and then, no, someone on Twitter said this, and, I can only do so much with that. You know what I mean? If sometimes I can be like, here's an interesting cultural issue that's happening, sometimes, usually when it's a slow news day, but a lot of the cultural channels, they do way better than me because I talk about news and my opinions on news, because that's what I care about. The White Trash Man says they tell Tim what to cover. Who is they, though? Indeed. Habatsky says, Finland copies their news from CNN, so our news just cover weird and not stolen valor. Indeed. Well, that sucks. All right, let's see. Tallyho says, OMFG, I don't want to hear about Boogie or Keemstar or whatever it's called ever again. Like, I don't even know what's going on with those people. It doesn't matter. It's relevant to very few, and it's not relevant. Here's the question. Is it going to make this country better? Is it going to improve our lives? Probably not. But let's jump to this last story, my friends. First, let me get a drink of my delicious Numa. See, I was shouting them out the other day. Where's the thing? No, this is the wrong side. There you go. Numa. During Timcast IRL, when I'm talking for 2 hours, I periodically will grab a drink of something, but other people are talking, so you never notice. But on the morning shows, I have to sneak away and grab a drink to be able to talk so much. But we were talking about Numa on the show yesterday. Are awesome coconut water-based sports drinks with, like, very little sugar. And James Klug tried the chocolate mint one. He was like, nope, don't like it. And apparently Raymond G. Stanley Jr. was saying, like, nobody likes them. And I'm like, I don't know, the people who like them really like them. But I was like, I don't want to rag on Numa's one bad flavor because all the other flavors are really good. And it's, like, one of my favorite drinks because it's coconut. It's organic water, coconut water, lemon juice, Himalayan pink salt, and stevia. I dig it. All right, anyway, let's talk about news instead of sports drinks. Here we go. From Politico, Germany issues arrest warrant over for Ukrainian over Nord Stream bombing, reports say. Ukraine is our enemy. I believe that the country of Ukraine is an enemy of the United States. They have sabotaged and destroyed. They are invoking war and causing problems for us. They're siphoning away resources. I think they're an enemy of this country. But of course, the Uniparty establishment is all on board. Politico says, hey, look at this. What's this? German prosecutors have obtained a European arrest warrant for a Ukrainian man they believe was involved in the bombing of the Nord Stream gas pipelines, according to media reports Wednesday. Those are Russian, by the way. The man, however, was able to escape arrest, German media reported. Germany's federal prosecutor general is seeking a man identified as Vladimir Z. Zelensky? For privacy reasons, he's a 44-year-old Ukrainian diving professional who was last seen in Poland and has since disappeared. Wait, hold on. Hold on, that's so funny. Volodymyr Zelensky, right? That's his name? Yeah. How old's he? He's 46. So, this is Volodymyr Zelensky, Volodymyr Z. He's 46 years old. Okay. They're not actually suggesting the president of Ukraine personally went and blew up Russian gas pipelines. I was kidding, by the way. The man was identified as Volodymyr Zurevlov. You see, there's the real name. By the Swedish newspaper Expressen, part of the reporting consortium covering the story. The subsea explosions in September 2022 took out 3 of the 4 Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines transporting gas from Russia to Germany and sent geopolitical shockwaves around the world. There are continuing unanswered questions about who is responsible, and fingers pointed variously at Russia, Ukraine, the US, and the UK. I ain't believing for a second. Russia blew up their own pipeline. Nord Stream 1 had been in operation since 2011. Nord Stream 2 was completed, but had not yet begun pumping gas by the time of the attacks. The pipelines had been enormously controversial, with Ukraine, the US, Poland, and others criticizing Germany for tying itself to Russian gas exports, a position that became untenable following Moscow's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. Denmark and Sweden also opened probes into the explosions, but those investigations were suspended without naming a suspect. German prosecutors' investigation into the blast also points to 2 other Ukrainian nationals, a couple who run a diving school in Ukraine where Zurevlov worked as a diving instructor. They say they believe that Yevhen and Svetlana Yu attached explosive charges to the pipelines, according to the investigation. The 3 expert divers were in the Baltic Sea in September 2022 aboard a German sailing yacht called Andromeda. According to the Süddeutsche Zeitung, the German prosecutor had listed Yevhen Yu and his wife Svetlana as possible accomplices. All right, we get the details. Let's break down what this means. In reality, I think Ukraine was working at the behest of the United States to blow up Russian gas pipelines because the U.S. wants to control energy in Europe. Here we go, baby. I'll make it quick. The U.S. wanted to build a gas pipeline called the Qatar-Turkey pipeline. It needed to go through Syria and Turkey into Europe to compete with Russia's Gazprom gas monopoly, which goes through Ukraine. Syria said no. Syria then falls into civil war, I believe likely due to CIA interference, to trigger a conflict in the country and destabilize it. Hence, U.S. troops are in Syria. We wanted to build this pipeline so that we could reduce gas prices via competition with Russia. Syria said no, Russia is our ally. Why then is there the Burisma scandal, where Joe Biden goes to the president of Ukraine and says, if you don't fire the prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, who's investigating, he didn't say this, but who was investigating Burisma, the founder, Mykola Zlochevsky, he said, I'm going to withhold congressionally approved loan guarantees $1 billion. The president of Ukraine says, you can't do that. And he goes, try me. This was illegal, outright illegal. Joe Biden did not have the authority to do this. He did it anyway. The reason is that Hunter Biden's on the board, that a former CIA counterterrorism director is on the board of Burisma, is they needed an energy company to facilitate the gas imports into Ukraine. They needed to control Ukraine to put controls on Gazprom. This would cause serious problems for Russia in selling gas and oil, diminish their economy. The U.S. then wanted to make Ukraine a NATO country so they could cut Russia off from the Black Sea. Without access to the Black Sea, Russia's not going to be selling oil through the Mediterranean, through the Black Sea, through the Bosphorus, into the Mediterranean. Basically, this was war against Russia. It was economic war against Russia the whole time. Russia's response was to invade Ukraine, secure their land bridge and access to Crimea, which is their only warm water port, which is in Sevastopol, where they have a naval base and where they can distribute oil into the Black Sea and into the Mediterranean. The U.S. wanted to shut them down, shut down their gas sales, isolate Russia, and basically destroy the country. What do you think that's going to turn into? So here we are. Ukraine, working at the behest of the United States, likely blew up the Russian gas pipelines, Nord Stream, so that it would severely hinder Russia's ability to sell gas, weakening the country. Why do you think Russia then invades Ukraine? Why do you think we are then at war? The U.S., NATO, has expanded dramatically into Eastern Europe and has pressured. Look, man, They've pressured Russia to the point where war was inevitable. This is why I don't like current U.S. foreign policy. Under Donald Trump, these things weren't happening. Under Donald Trump, we had stability. Donald Trump was bringing peace agreements. Powerful Western interests headquartered in the United States and Europe want global dominance via the liberal economic order. Every country must fall in line, submit, or else. This whole project, the whole campaign they were working on was to remove Putin, to destroy Russian governance, and make them a vassal state of Western powers. Russia said no. And now, it's all falling apart. In the meantime, U.S. approves $20 billion in weapon sales to Israel amid threat of wider Middle Eastern war. You know what I can't stand? I can't stand the people who think that the United States is a vassal state of Israel. I think that narrative exists to make it impossible for people like me and other anti-war types to stop what the U.S. is doing or to argue against it. The idea they want to create is to dominate the conversation on Israel and make it seem like there's two things. One side is any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. Lie. The other side is Israel controls everything. Insanity. The reality is Israel has its interests. Israel is right powerful. The U.S. does support Israel. But Israel is a proxy, is a vassal state of the United States. They're going after Netanyahu. They want to remove him. They want to control this country. They don't like what he does. The United States exerts tremendous authority over Israel. And they talk about AIPAC. They talk about pro-Israel PACs that are ousting people like Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman. The bigger picture there is the U.S. wants war in the Middle East. Barack Obama destabilized the region intentionally, in my opinion, to destroy these governments so that the chaos allows the U.S. to come in and do whatever they want. The benefit of what the U.S. is doing in supplying Israel and the conflict in the Middle East is that we can then go into Iraq, Afghanistan, destabilize Iran, exert our authority, and once again, just like with Russia, we can press the liberal economic order. So why are these pro-Israel PACs going after the Squad? Because the Squad is opposed to Israel, and Israel is a vassal state that is instigating a war that the United States wants to happen. Now, some people have suggested Kamala, Biden, and others, Obama, are pro-Iran and don't want the war in the Middle East. If that were true, why did Barack Obama ramp up Stuxnet? What was it, Operation Olympus or whatever it was called? They developed the virus in tandem with Israel to blow up Iranian nuclear centrifuges. That's an act of war. Iran didn't retaliate, at least as far as we know. They want war with Iran. They want the justification. They just want to control it. What they're really hoping for is instability, so they can go in the region, take the oil, control what they want to control. Israel is a foothold. The U.S. tried building a beachhead in Gaza. They want what's happening. And now they're going to give $20 billion of your money, which is going to lead to more massive inflation. They've given hundreds of billions of Ukraine for similar reasons, and people are wondering why it is they can't afford to eat. Why the food costs are getting so high. Congress was notified of the impending sale, which includes more than 50 F-15 fighter jets, advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, AMRAAMs, a 120-millimeter tank ammunition, and high explosive mortars and tactical vehicles, and comes at a time of intense concern that Israel may become involved in a wider Middle Eastern war. Oh yeah. Iran is outright saying it's war. However, the weapons are not expected to get to Israel anytime soon. They are contracts that will take years to fulfill. Much of what is being sold is to help Israel increase its military capability in the long term. The earliest systems being delivered under the contract aren't expected until the 2026 timeframe. Quote, the United States is committed to this. security of Israel, and it is vital to U.S. national interest to assist Israel to develop and maintain a strong and ready self-defense capability. This proposed sale is consistent with those objectives. The State Department said in a release on the sale. The Biden administration has had to balance its continued support for Israel with a growing number of calls from lawmakers and the U.S. public to curb military support there due to the high number of civilian deaths in Gaza. It has curbed one delivery of 2,000-pound weapons amid continued airstrikes by Israel in densely populated civilian areas in Gaza. What does it all mean, my friends? A vote for Kamala Harris expands the war. To be fair, I don't know, as I said earlier, that if Donald Trump gets in, I don't know that he can stop what's coming. I don't. I'd like to believe it, but I don't know that it's possible. In the meantime, I'd say Ukraine is an enemy of the American people. Now, for the deep state, for the liberal economic order, they're a great vassal. But I think for what Americans really want, Ukraine is going to make World War III happen. Not just Ukraine, Israel as well. These two states are not helping the American people. I'll leave it there. Next segment is tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimCastIRL. So smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share these videos, and share the shows if you really do like them. You can follow me on X at TimCast, as well as Instagram at TimCast. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all tonight. And for everybody else, we'll grab just a couple more super chats because we only got a couple more, but it looks like we got through a lot of segments much more quickly. They weren't as long as they can be. So we'll read a little bit of what you guys got, but maybe we'll end up wrapping up early unless you guys blast some more super chats in. All right. Here we go. Lucian Hex says there's a document from the International Organization for Migration titled Leveraging Human Mobility to Rescue the 2030 Agenda. Really? Phoenix Anthem says, if YouTube starts charging, Vimeo will grow in popularity. Their platform is far superior, is better than YouTube IMO. Yes, but people are still addicted to YouTube. All right. Adam says, here for real news, mainstream is evil. Completely agree. Like 70% evil, I'd say. No, like 80, 85% evil. There's some good journalists out there, but they don't really do big stuff. MMA Doodoo says, do the Alex Pereira being Amber Hearded story. I don't know who that is or what's that about. Grandpa Irv says the woke left controls Tim. If he takes off the beanie, you will see a tiny Kamala pulling levers. That's true. Kamala Harris, periodically, she's actually very tiny. The reason why she doesn't do any interviews is because she's actually very small, and she exists in the command center under my head. And that's why, really what they're doing, remember in Lord of the Rings, how they made the actors look small and the other actors look big? That's all it really is. When Kamala's walking out of the car, it's actually the car's really close to the camera, and she's really far, she's really close to the camera, the car's really far away, so it looks like she's the same size as the car, but she's actually very small. Bridges says, did you read And to Think I Saw on MLK Street, a conservative children's book? You were sent a couple of copies a while ago. I hope you loved it. I didn't see it. I didn't. Maybe we should. All right. Danker Supreme says, careful what you say, Tim. If you say Ukraine is a hostile nation who attacks us, you might just cause us to invade Ukraine as well. Trying to displace Russia. Oh, that's going to happen. Clank Clank on the tank says, Peter Zion kept pushing the Gazprom blew it up conspiracy. Now Russia has the second best army in Kursk, and the U.S. has redeployed to the Middle East. Israel doesn't have much time for the red heifer. Unless this is part of it. Travis Kistner says, Heavy Ball Entertainment on YouTube. I make Pokemon content. Nothing political. Just enjoying Pokemon games and cards. Cooking show in the works. Very cool. Shout out. Eric Poe says, can be appointed job title, CSM without E9. Also can get E9, but not long enough to officially retire with the title. Confusing. 26-year active guard. Shout out. Lost Cause says, Tim, look into Krark Sakashima deck. Loads of fun. We here at Timcast have banned Commander Partners. The stupidest thing that they did was Partners. Backgrounds are okay, I guess. But no, get out of here. The partner BS. It's esoteric, but for those that don't know, it's just a game format thing that the person was talking about. Talking about game format stuff. Google lateral promotion. Let's do it. Lateral promotion. The Google AI stuff is just not good, I gotta be honest. Search Labs. A lateral promotion, also known as a lateral move, is a career change where an employee moves to a new role in the same company and a similar pay grade. Lateral promotion, National Guard. Nothing comes up. All right, well, there you go. What is a lateral promotion in the Army? It's a video I'm not going to watch. Well, there you go. I don't know. Here we go. We got some more super chats. Benedict Meatball says, another story I haven't heard anyone mention. Sean Ryan interviewed Commander Mossad, claimed we fund the Taliban $80 million a week. Yes, we probably do. Clank Clank says, Netanyahu had to come to the U.S. and meet with Biden and Harris before Israel took out the Hamas leaders in Iran. Harris supported the attack, is a Zionist and against Islam. Yeah, I think that we are actually going to get more war. More war. Caleb Peavy says he never read my super chat. Which one was that? Travis says thanks for the shout out. Which one was that one? There aren't that many super chats, so I can scroll through them and then see which one that is. He says, Timmy, watch interview with Lisa DeMuth on Forbes Breaking News YouTube channel. It exposes Walt's big time. Share it. Interesting. Corn Pop says, I don't understand how Cookie Kamala can be the nominee without winning a single primary. Yep. Nam Bizzle says, that Trump promo, I got chills. Yeah. Based Jew says, there's no religion or party without wolves. Indeed, man. Yin yang. You know what I'm saying? You've got the good with the bad, and I think that's life. It's a balance. It's a constant battle between good and evil. It will never be perfect. There will always be the struggle. There will always be a challenge, and that's all we can do. The price for freedom is eternal vigilance, my friends. But I suppose we'll wrap things up a little bit early today. We'll wrap it up there. Smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with all of your friends. And we'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. We've got Terrence Williams on the show on IRL tonight, so it'll be a lot of fun. We'll hang out with him and talk about what's going on. You can follow me on X and Instagram at TimCast. Follow me there and become a member by going to timcast.com. Click Join Us. But for $10 per month, you can help us in the fight against fake news in doing our best to show you what's really going on, whether you like our opinions or don't. And you can support the general work that we do across the board with culture building, coffee company, all of those things, Casper.com. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Subscribe, and we'll see you all tonight.
If my boyfriend make me mad, I could go to a hotel. Hi, it's JT, and this is my...